Hey everyone, how you going? It's Adrenaline7 here, and we're still playing XCOM 2 with the Longboard mod installed, plus other mods as well. So, we finished up the last mission. I can't remember what it was called. Furious Gears, I think it was. Now we've got another one that we want to do. And because it's going to be finishing up in the next couple of in-game days, which we end up doing here, it raises it up to, what, 140, 150%? 156%. This is Operation God Dance, so we're just going to get straight into it because I don't need to sort out anything else. We just finished a mission and we're going to start a new one with fresh operatives to go from there. So basically what we need to do, we got another train mission. So we're going to go find a train with a bit of intel in it, and we're going to collect it. So here we go. Start this up. So this is an infiltration mission, so everyone would, like, I go with my usual setup. I go with five soldiers, and what I'm trying to do in this particular one as well, in this mission, so here we go. Operation God Dance, recover an item from the train in Ibadan, which I'm guessing is well, it says it's in Africa somewhere, West Africa, but I don't know what country in particular. Okay, I also have to apologise for the syncing issues between the video and the audio. I don't know what the hell was going on with it, but in any case, yeah, it just wasn't syncing up, and I didn't want to have to put that much effort into trying to resync it because, you know, it's just a pain in the butt sometimes. And in any case, and you know, by the time it switches videos, like the frame rate and stuff like that, by the time it switches from one clip to another, the frame rate kind of sorts itself out, and then after a while it diminishes because of the video capture doesn't capture all the time. It's like the game doesn't run purely at 60 frames a second when the capture records at 60 frames a second. So if the capture records at 60 frames a second while the game runs at it fluctuates between, say, 63 and 50 and 51 or something like that, then obviously you're going to have some syncing issues between the audio and the video. Still. And here we go. As you can tell, this is a voiceover as well, because I've got a lot of video cuts in this too, and that's fine. Like I said in earlier videos, this is how I was going to do these particular videos. I wanted to show you, I'm just showing you cuts of how I set up my ambushes and my attacks and stuff like that. And I'll give you a brief outline of what the map actually looks like in total. And once I get to the point where I'm going to start an ambush, or whether I get caught in an ambush, whether it fails or anything like that, I show you the full thing from there. So here we go. I've got my Shinobi, or is this my Ranger? I don't know. I think it's my Ranger. In any case, I've got my Ranger here. He's basically my scout, so I get him to go out. All right, Nevneet. He goes out and he scouts the areas. He tries to look for particular patrols and groups of enemies. Stays in hiding, hunkers down every time they get close, so he doesn't get caught off guard or anything like that. And here we go. So just wanted to show you there that we've got some drones happening around the area, plus this, the big tower, spotlight tower. Excuse me, I've been yawning there. So what I end up doing here, I've made a lot of mistakes in the past where I would go too far, just because I'm like, oh yeah, this is behind full cover, but as soon as you get behind that full cover, there's an enemy that's just out of sight, and when they move, bang, you're in their sight because you didn't have time to hunker down. When you hunker down, you actually make it a lot easier to hide from enemies, which is something I've been trying to utilize a lot more now. Like, hunkering down is a huge playbook. It's part of the playbook, I guess, if you want to call it that way. It's a huge fundamental part of taking your turn and actually surviving in XCOM 2. Oh well, mind you, I have to admit, I do appreciate this game because you don't have to be online to play it as well. Like, you can, like, a lot of these, like the last couple of videos, or the last two videos, like this one and the previous video I did, they were recorded all offline and everything like that, which made it so much more easy for me because, excuse me, I'm yawning. It's getting a little bit late at night, and I went to bed at like 3:30 in the morning, because I was running a job application. And yes, I do teach at a school at the moment, but I've been questioning whether or not I actually want, like, just like all workplaces, you know, one of your first places you work at, it's not going to be the job you're going to work at forever. Like most of the time, it's not. I mean, when you get your first job, whether it's, you know, usually working in some sort of hospitality field, i.e., flipping the burgers at McDonald's or frying the chicken at KFC or whatever it is you do, you know, folding sandwiches at Subway. Now, this is a bit of an issue here, because this is where, unfortunately, I'm right in the spot. I did not even know that there was a drone there. So, basically, that means that all the enemies are aware of my position and they're all going to attack me. So, my job now is to get the hell out of there. Okay, so he runs, you know, they go off that way. My job is to just get the hell out of there. Whew. So I try and go in particular areas that are not, there were enemies are not going to be able to attack me. So that's my job. My job is to get, so my job is to get this guy behind cover so that if anyone tries to attack me, they're going to miss me. Because I can't afford to, I could not afford to lose anyone for this mission. A lot of the people that I have on this mission were, like, they're pretty essentials. They're pretty essential. So yeah. Once I actually make a move, come on. Man, I'm slow. Oh well. In any case, yeah, you don't stick with the first job. I mean, you know, the first job I ever had, I was a meat packer, and I worked there for 3.5 years, and it was the crappiest work I've ever done because, one, working with food sucks. Two, it was a factory line as well. I was employed as a laborer, so I had to do crappy jobs, just doing things here and there. It smelled. I had to wake up early in the morning, like I had to wake up before 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work at you know, to get to work at 5:30, change into my whites as well, and, you know, get all my stuff sorted so I could start working at 6. And I would have to work from 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon with, like, you know, not that many breaks, with only like a 15-minute and a 30-minute break after that. It sucked, and I had no rapport with any of the people there. Like, you know, a few of the butchers were entertaining every now and then, but I was never a butcher. I mean, how old was I? I was 18 at the time. 18, 19, and 20. It sucked as a job. It's not what I wanted to do, and I wasn't going to try and, you know, develop a career in that. So I thought, you know what, let's get out of there. So then I got my second job as working in retail, ended up working in Big W for a while. Like, you know, Big W is like the Australian equivalent to Walmart, I guess, if you're American. So I ended up working in retail. I did that for about 7 years. I was selling DVDs and TVs and sound systems and games and whatnot. So, you know, I was in a place that I liked. I enjoyed it, but just dealing with customers was, like, I'm not the most... That was an awesome shot, by the way, by the guy who looks like Patches. Oh, that's James Woods. Good on you, James Woods. Yeah, it was... Yeah, like, once again, that was not a career that was not a job I could develop into a career, providing, you know, considering that I was given like an opportunity to develop, like, oh, do you want to be a manager for this? And I'm like, well, I've been working here for several years, and I kind of know how things are run, I know what's expected, but I knew for a fact that managers were treated like crap, not only by customers, but by, higher staff as well. So regional managers, directors, executives, all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, the higher in the chain, they basically just chewed down on managers. I'm like, you know what? I do not want to be in that particular position. So I was like, all right, that's there's no career in this, which is why I ended up going into, you know, which is why I ended up doing postgraduate diplomas in teaching, both first secondary and then primary. And then I figured, okay, well, let's become a teacher then, like everyone else, like everyone else who's studied an art degree of some sort. Even though I didn't study arts per se, I studied music. Man, Klaus, you suck. I hate Klaus when he comes to, when he gets to the point where... So I thought one of my doors were open. When he can't shoot for crap. He's good for grenades, but he's not good for anything else. So I know for a fact that this guy's out of concealment, which means that, yeah, look, I mean, look, he's got 3 health. 3 bloody health. he is like the most fragile scout there is. So everyone else, I think, yeah, according in this particular turn, it's basically I need to try and get rid of that guy there. That drone is going to cause havoc. He's going to, god damn it. So yeah, so that drone is basically going to cause a lot of havoc. It's going to stun some of my guys, maybe shoot them and actually like weaken them significantly. So I'm just trying to get rid of them. Mind you, I like that character that I had, Wendy Tucker. She's she actually attacks twice, which is wicked. I don't know. It was just a default. It was just one of the default abilities that she was able to get from. Yeah, she was like from when she became an assault soldier, assault classification. And finally, Klaus decides to finally get something right. You Goku-looking wannabe, you bleached Goku. So yep, get them behind full cover. That makes it easier. And this is where we've noticed the Advent soldiers as well. So anyway, back to what I was talking about before I started talking about my life story. I ended up today, which is the 13th of the 7th, the 13th day of July, because I find the correct way to tell the date is by day, then month, then year, not month, day, year. You gotta look at it as a pyramid, all right? Days are the smallest unit. Okay, then months, okay, because they're longer, and then at the base you've got years because they are the longest time unit of the three. So you usually do it from smallest to biggest. It's just logical. And bang, by the way. Oh, thank God that. Yeah, I was really happy that was 5 then, because that made it so much easier for me to sort out. But yeah, I applied for a job today as well to a new school, which is going to start next year. They were looking for a coach, a teacher, like they wanted a music teacher, but they wanted someone to specialize in a particular music teaching approach. So those in Australia and England and possibly maybe some places in the US, there might be like some of the music teachers might be more familiar with, that was a lucky shot, might be more familiar with the musical futures approach to teaching. Which is what I basically applied for. It was a coach. It was a musical futures coach for teachers. So not only will I be taking music classes from year 7 up to year 12, but that's what they're at. That's the classification anyway. That's the type. But the job entailed basically, basically, getting employed by the school, but teaching other teachers how to use this technique, how to use the approaches and the activities and the strategies and whatnot, because I think they were wanting to, either they had lost a teacher or they wanted to implement the programs themselves and they needed someone to look up and to oversee it. And I'm like, you know what, I can do that. It's I've gone to the professional development sessions before. I've implemented a lot of the programs. All I needed was just maybe a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 extra PDs, and I reckon I could. And I truly believe that I could do it. So I fixed up my resume. I updated all my referees and contacts and stuff like that. I updated. And what I did was I had to fill in, and like with most government jobs, you have to. Sorry, I got dust around here. With most government jobs, you have to fill in key selection criteria, which is basically here. We've got a set of standards that we got a set of questions, a set of standards that you need to answer, and we want you to prove to us that you are we want you to convince us to prove to us that you're going to be that you're suitable for this job. And that's what I spent the last couple of days doing. And last night I spent a majority of my time listening to some music and writing out a whole bunch of the selection criteria during that night, which ended up being until 3:30 in the morning, because I got started at like 10 o'clock or something like that, because I can't do that stuff during the day because my kids just annoy the crap out of me, and I can't concentrate during the day when it comes to that sort of stuff. I'd rather either spend more time with them or do other tasks or whatever it is, or whatever to during that time, because they're just distraction. It's just distracting. It's incredibly distracting. So I either have to do work at home or at night time when everyone else has gone to bed, or at least when the kids have gone to bed, or I have to do it at work, which obviously I'm on holidays at the moment. It's school holidays here in Victoria, in Australia. So, and which is actually running out very soon because, you know, I'm recording my vocal overdub. It's a Thursday. I start work on Monday again with new classes, with new subjects as well, which I'm looking forward to. And yeah, it's a bit of a busy time at the moment, but I'm just trying to relax. I'm trying to keep it relatively easy. And yeah, I ended up spending, like, during these holidays, I ended up spending a fair bit of my time trying to socialize with people I haven't seen for ages. Like, one of them was a pre-service teacher that I actually mentored last year. You know, I caught up with him. You know, he's many years younger than I am. Considering I'm 30 and he was like 23 or 24 or something like that, I can't remember. So, you know, I met up with him, we talked for a fair bit, we talked about different students, we talked about what our jobs entailed, you know, how things went, you know, any particular instances that happened, and just general catching up. And I did that for a fair few different people. So I had my old pre-service teacher who I got along really well with. I also caught up with a person I used to work with at my retail job. She ended up quitting like before I did, and she became a teacher. She's been teaching for as long as I have. So I caught up with her. We had a chat for a bit. I caught up with another teacher who I worked with last year, who tried to reapply for his job, got denied, and when he was offered the position again as a relief teacher, he was like, nah, not happening. I caught up with him, and you know, he's doing other work as well. He's currently a goal umpire, or just a field umpire for the is it the VFL league, or yeah, it's not the AFL. I think it's the VFL league. Or the local, I think he's his local football league or something like that. And remember, this is AFL, this is Aussie rules football, or footy. So yeah, he's doing that sort of stuff. Who else did I catch up with? I caught up with like my old high school friend who works at a retail store. He's like one of the managers of the retail store. So I caught up with him, had lunch, and I took my boys with me as well. So we all caught up. Like, it was just like almost like a boys' day out sort of thing. Ended up having like a whole bunch of pizza. That was wicked. And who else did I catch up with? I caught up with an old bandmate of mine, because I used to be in a band many years ago, before my first son was born. I had to quit the band because my son was born, and the fact that I had absolutely no money during that time. I was almost broke every week when I was in that band. And it wasn't because we were unsuccessful or anything like that. It was because I was working a part-time job, and I had to support not only my wife, but I had to support so yeah, I was supporting my wife. I was supporting, like, I had to pay bills, rent, food, shopping, all sorts of stuff. And the fact that I was going to have a son as well, so they were like, oh god, now I've got more money to spend on things. It was just like, being in the band was just not viable for me. So mutual decision between myself and my bandmates was like, you know what, it's probably best if I leave. Anyway, I caught up with a guitarist in that band, and he, he's doing well. Like, he's a draftsman. Like, he was a civil engineer by trade, so he's got work as a draftsman. So that made it easy for him. I find it as a step up for him. He, he's moved house as well. He's got a daughter who's in between the ages of my boys, so Double Slash and Wookie. Her age is in between the boys, so they can get along. You know, the kids got along pretty well. A few other people showed up as well during that day, so that was interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. I wasn't aware that these guys were coming too, but we all got along well. You know, it turns out the other guest was, you know, another father, and he was also a teacher. He taught Hebrew at a school in Richmond or something like that, which is a suburb in Melbourne in Victoria. much farther away than where I live. In fact, I used to do band practice in Richmond. But yeah, so he was a teacher as well, and he had his own kids. So it was basically 3 dads, 5 kids, and we were all just getting along, bonding over pasta for lunch. And the pasta was good. It was really tasty too. So you know, not the best pasta I've tasted. I mean, I've made the best pasta in the world. It was a one-pot pasta recipe, a one-pot spaghetti recipe. It was just wicked. The deal with it is you actually cook the, like, you put a whole bunch of oil in the pan. You don't actually boil the pasta in a pot first of water. You actually, you know, put a whole bunch of oil in just a big pot, a big pan, and you put the pasta in there, you cook it in the oil, but you cook all of the ingredients in at the same time. So yeah, passata, tomatoes, you put in, man, that's some delayed, that's some out of sync audio there. So yeah, put some passata in there, some mushrooms, some mince, all that sort of stuff. You put in all the ingredients necessary, garlic, whatever. You know, top it with parmesan as well, but you do that later on, but you cook it all in the one pot, and the pasta actually soaks up all of the ingredients itself. It is absolutely wicked. Now, if you are a family person, whether you're a mum, whether you're a dad, or whether you're just a guardian of someone else, you're taking care of, oh, here we go, here's the final move for the match, by the way. Because obviously one of my guys is being mind controlled. I know for a fact that if they shoot, I can't shoot them because they're going to die. If they shoot me, I'm going to die. So I know for a fact that I had to get rid of the sectoid, because they are going to absolutely rip me. So what do I end up doing here? Do I end up weakening him first? I think I end up trying to shoot him with a pistol here, which I hit him, but it's not an effective weapon. I actually realized that after I made the move. I'm like, oh crap, this weapon only hits for like 1 to 3 points, so it's not going to help. But I was just hoping with the critical shot that I could have got, I was hoping that it would have been more than that, but no, it was only a 2-shot. So much for that, which meant that so what do I do? I'm trying to figure out what it... Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I finally get out the machete, and I'm basically just going to kill this sectoid, because that's my #1 concern. I should have just done that at the start, honestly. So there we go, and that effectively stopped the mind control of one of my soldiers. And I picked up an item as well, so expanded magazine. Oh, anyway, there's one pot pasta recipe. If you... Okay, so... there's actually a Healthy Mummies website I've been getting a lot of recipes off for, you know, that my wife has been getting a lot of recipes off more specifically, and a lot of the meals on there are actually designed for families. So if you've got some fussy picky eaters or whatever, all of the recipe, like most of the recipes just taste absolutely awesome. They taste so good, and that one pot pasta recipe, I have to admit, is probably the best I've ever had. So I would probably suggest you do that. Go to the you know, go on Google, check out Healthy Mummies food recipes or the website or something like that. It does cost, I think it does cost a membership and stuff like that, but my god, they make some awesome recipes. I've had some of the most delicious food in the last like month than I've ever had. So yeah, I would highly advise that. And the fact that, and there's no more enemies on screen, by the way. And the fact that, oh, yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say now. I was going to make another point, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. So here we go. Okay, so I've put out the, okay, going back to the game here. I've pulled out the evac, and that's shown up. But what I needed to do here was actually get one of my characters to actually get to the container, because that's going to blow up if I don't get to it in time. And obviously that fails the mission. As much as you can attack all of the enemies, it's not going to happen. Like, you can kill all the enemies, but if you don't get that item, you fail the mission. Is she Canadian? I'm out of here. I can't do a Canadian accent very well, except for the aboot. But that's just stereotypical. Alright, so yep, everyone gets out of here.
I hope it's worth it.
Yeah, I hope it's worth it too.
Ready to boogie.
Alright, so yeah, I have to admit, this was one of the more successful missions. I mean, I don't even remember any of the soldiers actually getting injured, mind you. We'll find out what that's like. So here we go, we hack the chest. God, that audio is so delayed. It's so out of sync. So I think this was like the really bad one. Yeah, it only went to like 25%. There was no way I was going to get anything like that. So now, so I've hacked the container with 2 turns left, which wasn't too bad. So once that happens, it's basically just run to the evac zone. And that is the end of the mission. So it's just a matter of just run. And just out of force of habit, I have to hug against walls because that's what you do in this game. So there we go. It only takes, you know, 1.5 turns to actually get to it anyway. So I made sure I get the evac zone close to the close to the where the objective was anyway, because it just made it a lot more easier for yeah, it made it a lot more easier for my guy to actually just run back and get finished with the turns. I mean, 16 turns taken, 9 enemies killed, no soldiers wounded, no soldiers killed. It was a flawless mission, and I was really happy about that. You don't get many of those in this particular game. Like I said, these are the early missions though. So there we go, another 100% successful shot rate. I don't know why it said that though. Average damage per attack, a new record at 2 point something, considering the last mission we did was like 3 point something. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of that squad, which, you know, I haven't actually looked at the squads yet. Like, I know you can actually create your own squads where it's the set soldiers to do particular missions and stuff, but I'd rather not do squads because I can't always guarantee that those members of the squad are going to be fully healed by the time I start a new mission. So I'd rather just pull people out here and there and just get them to work that way. Obviously, taking into account their abilities as well, because, you know, some soldiers are going to have better abilities than others. Oh well. So here we go. So James Woods, I think I get him. So he's already got snapshot, but I might get him to do. What was it, center mass, or was it the was it Phantom, or was it good ground? I think I ended up doing good ground because I've noticed a lot of my snipers. I've been trying to get them elevated, but I keep forgetting that they don't have that ability yet, where if they're above an enemy, that they can actually get a higher bonus. I keep forgetting that they don't have that yet. So yeah, this is just, I'm just going over upgrading. So we've got my Shinobi here. He's doing what do I get him to do? The Executioner, because he hasn't got the Blade Master. He's got Lone Wolf. So I'm just trying to think of what we do. I think I try and get him to be a full-on scout. So I might actually, I think I actually end up choosing Shadow Step for this one, honestly. Yeah, I did choose Shadow Step. Yeah, it's really hard for me to remember this stuff because there's so many different things going on for this game. It's and because I'm recording this a couple of days after I recorded it, just because of time constraints and whatnot, and you know, obviously other tasks have a priority in this instead. Such as trying to apply for new jobs. Oh, so the Ranger, what do we do from here? So she's got the light 'em up, so she's going to be, so she's full on attack. I think that's what I do with this character here. Because she can attack so many times, what I end up doing is it up close and personal? Or is it ever, is that vigilant? Ever vigilant? I think I end up doing up close and personal, honestly. No, ever vigilant. I didn't actually read what that said, so I'm going to have to look at that next time I play. And here we go. We got another rookie that's turned into a heavy weapons specialist. Or technical specialist. So heavy weapons is her thing. So she's going to be doing rocket launchers, flamethrowers, that sort of junk. Grenade launchers. Oh, yeah. I was just trying to crack my neck on my back then.
As we rapidly develop and deploy advanced new technology.
Yeah, they say to us, oh yeah, we're low on scientists and everything like that. Because you barely provide me any opportunities to do that. Sure, we might have 1 or 2 in the black market, but I've got no supplies. I mean, look, I've still got only 41 supplies. I've got a whole bunch of intel, but no supplies. Oh well. In any case, what we might end up doing, we might just leave it there. So we need to load up some new missions. So guys, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time. So long.